Ladies and gentlemen, I did a segment on Liz Cheney asking Democrats to change their party affiliation in order to vote for her in the primary. Now, the reason is, I did a little research. My research staff gave me this fantastic article. Quote, when asked, 56% of participants say they would vote for Hageman if the election were held today, as opposed to 26% for Cheney. All right, she's down 30 points against a Trump-backed challenger, Harriet Hageman. And this is fantastic news for a number of reasons. Even though it's interesting, Cheney and Kinzinger, if you go to 538, voted alongside President Trump in Congress around 90% of the time. Okay, Cheney even more so than Kinzinger. However, on major issues, especially foreign policy, and the absurd hoax, the myth that Trump was installed by the Kremlin, or that also Trump told people what to do 2 years ago. That is not, okay, that is a little bit more that's more plausible, yet it's still inaccurate than saying that Trump was installed by the Kremlin. You could have said the same thing about President Obama in 2008 and 2012. Both McCain and Romney were more hawkish towards that country. Okay? Does that mean that country wanted President Obama? All you have to do is say, okay, emails were hacked. We never saw the servers of the political party, so the DNC never gave their servers to the United States government. But the ODNI and DHS reports said, well, we think that Trump benefited from everyone learning that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Therefore, the intelligence agencies have concluded through their assessment, which is an opinion basically, that Trump was the beneficiary of interference from another country. The problem with, in terms of domestic politics and in terms of foreign policy, so foreign policy, Liz Cheney will back interventions, military conflict, quagmires. She will have no problem sending Americans off to, the next Lincoln Project foreign policy catastrophe. In terms of foreign policy and certain issues pertaining to our dysfunctional domestic politics and policy, so mainly intelligence agencies that side with one political party against another, they're not going to push back. So even though she sided with Trump 90% in Congress, pertaining to legislation or certain bills, on big topics like foreign policy, she is the Lincoln Project. She is the Lincoln Project. Literally, the Lincoln Project candidate. I mean, she's the daughter of Dick Cheney. So when people don't understand, when people can't comprehend the difference, or why conservatives or even people on the left don't like the Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, Paul Ryan type of Republican. It's because that type of Republican is the same as a Democrat on foreign policy and issues pertaining to intelligence agencies, for example. These intelligence agencies are political in nature. Okay, they've always been somewhat political in nature, maybe even more so than in recent years, back in the day. Okay, we don't have to go into that, but they've overtly taken a side now. So in terms of grandiose hoaxes like Trump Russia, which never happened. It never ever happened. There's no evidence. Mueller found nothing. Nobody conspired with another country. Yet Liz Cheney will perpetuate that myth. Trump never told anyone to commit a crime, and Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and Democrats will ignore an entire summer of $1 to $2 billion in property damage. The only thing I agree with is that President Trump shouldn't have had that day, because he should have realized the entire system. This is the thing. Trump is a fighter, and I love his style generally. Sometimes he pushes the envelope here and there. He does things that take away from his accomplishments, which are many accomplishments. But he was a bit naive towards the end of his administration. He didn't realize what he was up against. And so having that day, there was no point to it. It didn't do anything other than give Democrats 2 years of, another obsession, trying to link him to, a horrible day that I condemn. But I also condemn $1 to $2 billion in property damage, which Democrats don't. And I agree with the cause of that summer, but I don't agree with endless property damage and 19 lives lost and 14,000 arrests, which, by the way, Kinzinger and Cheney have yet to condemn. And Democrats have yet to condemn because it worked for the system. See, hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a great segment today. I have 2 segments up already. I'll have a 3rd segment on the gas tax suspension, which is ridiculous. It's not ridiculous in that he's, in a way, cutting taxes, but he's doing so because his policies were so horrendous. Mashed Potato Brains Joe caused almost all of this. Inflation was at 7% before you-know-who invaded in Europe. And gas was going up in price. And his administration was sued by oil and gas associations and 14 states because his energy policies were increasing the price of oil and gas. And within the lawsuits, it explains exactly why those policies increased the price at the gas pump. But you also have a shortage of steel, of labor, and you have environmental regulations, or I should say, regulatory hurdles that Biden's administration has implemented in addition to a moratorium on federal leasing. So there's all these things that oil companies have to contend with in addition to losing tens of billions of dollars 2 years ago when Democrats decided to tank the economy. The reason we tanked and shut down the entire United States economy was because Democrats and bureaucrats, those wonderful bureaucrats that we trust because they're experts, told us to do so. However, we don't trust apparently, or Democrats don't trust the experts in the oil and gas community and fossil fuel industry telling you that his policies are causing all of this. My God almighty, it's so easy to understand. But anyway, hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel, this channel, and I'll have a segment on the Bitcoin Crash channel tonight. I might go ahead and have a live stream at around 11 p.m. tonight. I'm not sure, so be there. But ladies and gentlemen, Liz Cheney is down 30 points to Marriott Hageman because Marriott Hageman is going to push back against intelligence agencies that go after Trump because of utilizing a dossier purchased by Clinton. Okay? Durham probe is very important, and the Durham probe, even though it didn't get the indictment or the conviction, got testimony. Okay? Stating that Clinton was personally responsible for disseminating false information to media. That's in addition to a bunch of revelations we found out through the indictment and through testimony by Robbie Mook and Mark Elias. But again, ladies and gentlemen, it's like Rome wasn't built in a day. You need more Marriott Hagemans, and there's going to be there could be 70, Republicans could pick up 70 seats. You'll have impeachment numerous times. Okay, not just once, numerous times. And it's going to be a different ballgame. The pendulum will swing towards Trump Republicans, a more populist message, which is the opposite in many ways of the Kinzinger and Cheney and Lincoln Project and Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney type of Republican, which is basically a Democrat on major issues, like I said, like foreign policy and hoaxes like Trump-Russia, which is the most absurd myth in the world. Bernie Sanders was cheated. They can't even come to terms with that. And they talk about honor and dishonor. It's like these are the most dishonorable people, both left and right, that uphold this very corrupt system. They cheated their own candidate in 2016, which is why I want to redo 2016 all over again with Hillary Trump 2024 or Hillary DeSantis 2024. But Cheney's going to lose. And she's now asking for Democrats to vote for her, which is hilarious. You can add Cheney to Andrew Cuomo, Eric Schneiderman. You could kind of put James Comey and Peter Strzok and Andrew McCabe and all of these people who went after Trump only to be disgraced eventually in some manner. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, and go to the Stock Market Crash channel. Right now I have yet another segment today on the absurd gas tax suspension that isn't going to do anything because you still have a shortage of materials and lawsuits and a whole lot of needless regulation that is making that is causing the price of fossil fuels in addition to increase, in addition to the fact that he wanted to do away with fossil fuels right when he got into office. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right